Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the United States to reveal hidden and shocking realities most people never see. This isn't about bashing America, it's about understanding the full picture, both good and bad. We'll explore 15 dark sides of the US that might just change how you see the world. Some of these facts are truly mind-blowing, so stick with me until the end. Ready? Let's dive into the first dark side. The United States is often celebrated as the land of the free, a place where opportunity and liberty are said to be available to all. But beneath this image lies a stark contradiction that many rarely see. The US actually has the highest prison population in the world. Over 2 million people are currently behind bars, more than any other nation on Earth. That's nearly 1 out of every 150 adults. This mass incarceration crisis doesn't just affect those locked up. It tears families apart, leaving children to grow up without parents and loved ones separated for years, especially in communities of color where the impact is even more severe. The effects ripple through entire neighborhoods, creating a cycle of poverty, trauma, and lost opportunity that's incredibly hard to break. The economic cost is staggering. Billions of taxpayer dollars are spent every year on incarceration, money that could have gone to education, healthcare, or rebuilding communities in need. Instead of focusing on helping people rebuild their lives, the system is built around punishment, not rehabilitation, offering little support for those hoping to change. As a result, many who leave prison find themselves trapped in a cycle of reoffending, unable to escape the shadow of their past. For millions of Americans, life is defined not by freedom, but by bars and concrete walls, with hope for a better future slipping further away. This system acts as a modern-day caste system, separating people by race, class, and circumstance, hidden in plain sight, yet shaping the lives of generations. Understanding this reality is crucial, because it sets the stage for so many other social issues we'll explore in the chapters ahead. Homelessness is a daily reality for over 500,000 Americans, a staggering number that continues to grow each year. For many, the struggle is invisible, hidden in plain sight, woven into the fabric of our cities and towns. Even in the wealthiest cities, where gleaming skyscrapers and luxury apartments dominate the skyline, thousands sleep on sidewalks just steps away from unimaginable affluence. The truth is, homelessness can happen to anyone. A single medical emergency, a sudden job loss, or an unexpected rent hike can push ordinary people to the brink, leaving them with nowhere to turn but the streets or their cars. Veterans who once served their country, families with young children, and individuals battling mental health challenges are all at risk. Many are left exposed to violence, illness, and the constant uncertainty of where they'll sleep next. Shelters are overcrowded, and the trauma is relentless, taking a toll on both body and spirit. The cycle of instability and fear is hard to break. The contrast between extreme wealth and sprawling tent cities is jarring, a stark reminder of the deep inequalities that persist in our society. Despite the tireless efforts of volunteers, social workers, and community organizations, the problem remains vast and deeply systemic, rooted in decades of policy failures and economic shifts. Homelessness in America is a moral crisis hiding in plain sight, one that challenges our values and demands urgent action from us all. In the US, getting sick can mean financial ruin. Without universal healthcare, millions face impossible choices between medicine and rent. Medical bills are the leading cause of bankruptcy, and insurance is confusing and expensive. Even with coverage, surprise bills can devastate families. The US spends more on healthcare than any other country, yet outcomes lag behind. Here, your wealth can literally determine your health. In a nation overflowing with food, over 34 million Americans, including 9 million children, face food insecurity. Hunger isn't just a rural problem, it's everywhere, affecting working families, seniors, and students. Many must choose between paying bills and buying groceries. The impact on children is lifelong, stunting health and potential. Food banks and assistance programs help, but the need far outweighs the supply. Meanwhile, up to 40% of food is wasted. It's a heartbreaking contradiction in modern America. America's promise of equality remains unfulfilled for many, especially Black and Indigenous communities. Racial disparities are built into the justice system, education, and the economy. Mass incarceration, underfunded schools, and discriminatory hiring keep the gap wide. The median white family has nearly 10 times the wealth of the median black family. These inequalities are the legacy of centuries of discriminatory policies. The fight for true equality is far from over. The opioid epidemic has devastated communities across America. Aggressive marketing of painkillers led millions into addiction, and when prescriptions ran out, many turned to heroin and fentanyl. Overdose deaths now outnumber U.S. war casualties from Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan combined. Fentanyl's potency has made the crisis deadlier than ever. Families are shattered, hospitals overwhelmed, and children left behind. This tragedy was fueled by corporate greed and regulatory failure. It's a national disaster still unfolding. Gun violence is a uniquely American crisis, claiming over 100 lives every single day. From bustling cities to quiet suburbs, no community is untouched by the shadow of this epidemic. The constant threat of gunfire has become a grim reality, shaping the way Americans live, work, and even gather in public spaces. Mass shootings have become disturbingly routine, with headlines blurring together as tragedy follows tragedy. Children now practice active shooter drills as part of their school day, learning to hide and stay silent, a lesson no child should ever need. The fear of violence has seeped into the fabric of daily life. The trauma and fear touch every community, leaving scars that linger long after the news cameras leave. Families mourn loved ones, friends comfort each other, and entire neighborhoods struggle to heal from the pain. The debate over gun control is deeply polarized, stalling meaningful change. Politicians argue, activists march, and the nation remains divided, unable to find common ground on how to address this urgent issue. While some fiercely defend gun rights as a fundamental freedom, others demand urgent action to end the bloodshed. The death toll continues to rise, fueling anger, frustration, and calls for reform. Survivors and families are left to pick up the pieces, their lives forever changed by senseless violence. Communities come together in grief, searching for hope and strength in the aftermath. The nation remains locked in a cycle of violence and grief, searching for answers and longing for a future where safety and peace are not out of reach. Millions of American children, over 1 in 7, grow up in poverty. Poverty means instability, hunger, and stress that can last a lifetime. Kids in poor families face worse health, struggle in school, and are less likely to escape the cycle. The long-term cost is a loss of potential for the entire country. Social safety nets exist, but they're not enough. Every child left behind is a loss for all of us. It's a quiet crisis stealing the future from millions. The American dream of higher education now comes with a $1.7 trillion price tag: student debt. 45 million Americans are burdened by loans that delay home ownership, marriage, and starting families. Tuition has soared, forcing young people into debt they barely understand. Student loans are nearly impossible to escape, even in bankruptcy. The stress is crushing, trapping a generation in financial limbo. The promise of education has become a debt trap. It's holding back millions from building stable lives. Pollution has created sacrifice zones where low-income and minority communities are exposed to toxic chemicals. Places like Cancer Alley in Louisiana and Flint, Michigan, show how environmental injustice poisons people for profit. Residents suffer from high rates of disease, with little power to fight back. Infrastructure failures and industrial runoff make things worse. The most vulnerable are trapped in unhealthy environments. It's a clear case of some lives being valued less than others. The promise that hard work leads to success is fading for millions of Americans. Wages have barely grown in decades, while the cost of living has soared. Even full-time workers struggle to afford basic needs. The wealth gap widens as corporate profits soar, and workers are left behind. The minimum wage hasn't kept up, making upward mobility a distant dream. Families live paycheck to paycheck, one emergency away from disaster. Economic insecurity is the new normal for many. America faces a growing mental health crisis, with millions struggling and few resources available. There's a severe shortage of mental health professionals, especially in rural areas. Stigma and high costs keep many from seeking help. Untreated mental illness drives homelessness, addiction, and suicide. The suicide rate is rising, especially among young people. The system treats mental health as an afterthought. Millions are left to suffer in silence. Extreme political polarization has split America into warring camps. People live in echo chambers, seeing the other side as enemies, not fellow citizens. Media and politicians fuel division for profit and power. Gridlock in government means urgent problems go unsolved. Families and friendships are torn apart by political fights. Civil discourse is breaking down, threatening democracy itself. The nation's unity is at risk. Domestic violence is a hidden epidemic, affecting over 10 million Americans each year. Abuse isn't just physical, it's emotional, financial, and psychological control. Victims are often isolated and afraid to seek help. Children who witness abuse suffer lifelong trauma. Shelters and hotlines are overwhelmed and underfunded. Most cases go unreported, leaving victims trapped. It's a war fought in silence behind closed doors. Human trafficking, modern-day slavery, exists in every U.S. state. Victims are forced into sex work or labor, hidden in plain sight. Traffickers prey on the vulnerable, using violence and threats to control them. Many victims are too scared or isolated to seek help. This criminal enterprise thrives in the shadows of our communities. Law enforcement and non-profits fight back, but the problem is vast. In the land of the free, people are still bought and sold. These are America's hidden crises, realities we can't ignore. The first step is awareness. Change starts with facing the truth. If this video opened your eyes, please subscribe and share it. Let's start a conversation and demand better for everyone. Thank you for watching and caring. See you in the next video.